Hello, welcome to Krafting Kitty. My name is Erin. It's Thursday, so that means it is time for Things We're Making Thursday. What? Okay, so I may have missed a couple of Things We're Making Thursdays here, and I apologize. But that means I have a backlog of wonderful projects that you all have shared with me via my Facebook group and email. So what I've done is I've managed to get through my Facebook group, and I'm going to share those today. And then next week I'm going to go through and share the things I can hopefully organize from my email. I'm sorry to make the email people wait another day. I'm sorry. But there you go. So I just launched right in, didn't I? I didn't tell you a thing. Things We're Making Thursday is a gigantic collaboration between a great number of YouTube content creators and non-content creators, and we're all making the same theme of items. Last month was Amigurumi in July. You're going to see some Amigurumi because, as I said, I missed a couple weeks, and I do want to share your absolutely adorable Amigurumi projects. And this month, August, is Granny Square month. So we are making Granny Square projects. Whatever your heart desires in a Granny Square theme. Now, Granny Squares are traditionally crochet, but if you can figure out how to... Granny Squares have kind of morphed from the traditional like 3-stitch clusters into like solid and other things, and it seems to be just things made of squares or even hexagons. I mean, a granny hexie, why not? So if you want to mimic a crochet granny square in knit, I think that's fair game. That is just my humble opinion. I've lost my train of thought. Anyway, so it's Granny Square month, so we're going to share some Granny Square projects. I am happy to share projects from viewers if you are not a content creator and you like to share what you're making, or if you are a content creator and you're like, hey, I don't want to make my own video. Erin, could you please share this? I'm totally welcome to. I'm totally totally willing to share that. Just if you could post them in my Facebook group, which will be linked down below, or in my send them to my email. Again, my email address will be linked down below. I am happy to share. As you know, this summer is crazy and I am finding it difficult to film and edit videos, and that's just a function of having 2 kids at home and now starting to get ready for the school year, and we actually do have a trip here coming up. So I apologize, but for the trip, I am hoping you will not notice a thing other than there might be some more off-topic videos, because I have a backlog of things I filmed, particularly openings, and I have some that, embarrassingly enough, are like a year old at this point. I might just crank those out and share those with you. I hope you don't mind. We all just like looking at yarn, right? We'll see. I'll decide. I'm not quite sure how far we're gonna have to get. But anyway, you're like, Erin, stop blabbering. Get on with the stuff. I haven't even done the stitch marker of the day yet. What am I doing? Okay, so I have been opening stitch markers from Ellie Leva's summer set, and here is day 9. It's a beautiful anchor. So the story behind me getting this set, I would have bought it anyway because I love Ellie Leva's things, but one of you beautiful viewers had wanted to know if she could buy some yarn off of me, and she thought, Steel Sky is her name, she thought I asked too low of a price, so when she went to pay me, she added extra and said, buy Ellie Leva's next set, please. So that is what I did. So thank you so much, Steel Sky, for making this even more possible. This is an adorable charm. This is a brass enameled charm, and it's got an airplane and kind of a globe, and it says explore. There you go. Uh-oh. That was a frustrated grunt from Bingo. Fingers crossed we don't hear a more... Okay, seems like things are settling down. That sort of grunt normally precedes some hurt feelings or some anger. There's the whole set. Beautiful. I will say, I don't think in the video you saw on Wednesday, Chomps noticed the dinosaur chain, otherwise I think the dinosaur would have been his favorite, not the camera. Okay, so what am I doing? I've kind of been focusing these things we're making Thursday videos on items I already have in progress to try to work down my WIP. So it's kind of been a theme of 2024 for me. So one thing I have had sitting here that I've been wanting to finish is an ongoing project. I am using a 2mm crochet hook. It's just the hook that I didn't think I would ever miss and I could leave in this bag in perpetuity. But what I am doing is using all of my extra sock yarn that I don't have enough or any other plan to put in another sock immediately. And even though it might not be absolutely immediately, like Brian's seaweed sock yarn, there was a very large chunk of that left over, way more than I thought there was going to be. And so I have another yarn that I think that it will coordinate perfectly with to do some heels and toes and stuff like that. So that isn't going to get in this yet until I use more down and don't think there's another use I have immediately in my head for it. Because I don't want... We all have that tendency, I think. I see the joke all the time. Don't be a hoarder, don't be a hoarder, throw it away. So I don't want to just hoard little scraps of yarn. I want to either put it to use or dispose of it in some way. So this is my way to put those little sock yarn scraps into use. I am making an ever-expanding granny square out of sock yarn, fingering weight yarns. So here we go. My current task is I'm adding that Vampire's Kiss, that Vampire Sparkle hobby yarn that I finished Bingo socks with. So we have Chomps' first strawberry socks, and then I made Bingo a pair of orange socks from the Premier Sweet Rolls. And then this is some Cozy Toes that I tried to make Brian socks from, but then realized I was following a pattern for a female foot, so they became my socks. And then this was a gift from Grammy Clean Crochets. And then I have the remainder of the hobby yarn. And I have just the smallest amount to keep going. So my goal is, next time we meet, to show you all of that yarn has been incorporated, and then when I finish this granny square project, well, it's not going to be finished. I will finish adding the yarn that I intend to add. I'm going to go back and work on Bingo's little granny square dress I had been making for her. So I just made this tiny little bag to hold it, and there we go. Okay, so the other, okay, let's talk about the pictures now, and then we'll talk about the books. Because I'm so far behind, and I've skipped a couple of weekly roundups, I've kind of wanted to put book talks into some of these videos because I had a backlog of books. What's going on? My goodness, like, the political texts are getting overwhelming. Ugh. Anyway, we're not here to talk about politics, we're here to talk about crafting. And let's talk about your crafts. All the lovely pictures you have sent me. And try to lean to one side so I have a space to point to. So first we have Linda. And Linda is prolific and she shares so much, and I adore it, Linda. Your projects are always so amazing. So she has shared, it's either 6 or 7 projects with us. And I'm going to say most of the projects, and I hope I wrote them down properly, but they will not be appearing on screen in that order. I apologize. So Linda made just a bunch of Granny Stores projects. There's bags, there's like a little, I was going to say purses separate, but purses and bags are kind of the same thing, are they not? A couple of blankets that were absolutely adorable. The one blanket, the quilt that's made to look like the star, that was phenomenal. Oh, Linda, that was just beautiful. That blew me away. It was amazing. And she made the most adorable, for July, the Amigurumi, dinosaur coasters. They are just the cutest. I love them. They are adorable. We also have Susan, and she made some, she's been working on another project, which is making flower granny squares using the bitty stripes from Red Heart Super Saver. They look absolutely adorable. I love them. She sent that to me in July on the Facebook page, and I don't think she meant to share it here for August, but I'm sharing it because they are so cute, and it is such a wonderful idea for that yarn. They just look perfect. And then we also have Michelle, who last month in July shared the bunny she made following Miss C's Cottage Some Bunny tutorial, and it is beautiful. She used the Big Twist Living, which I love that yarn. It has such a nice feel to it. I love it. And the bunny turned out just adorable. We also have Kathy, and she made the cutest little duck and sloth amigurumi. Oh, they were adorable, Kathy. I loved them. That sloth especially, like, it had such a fun expression on its face. Beautiful. And then we also have Miss Debbie, and Miss Debbie made a bunch of amigurumis that were just perfect. She had these turtles, these little sea turtles. I think they were supposed to be sea turtles. They might be normal turtles, because I feel like sea turtles have a different shaped arm. I could be wrong. Sorry, I'm having like a weird itch. They were so stinking adorable. And now I've moved over into this bed. She made a Grinch that was just the cutest, and a little pink-haired witch that was adorable. And then she used the Cursed Chenille plush yarn that I cannot use, but when other people who are able to use it make things like amigurumi, they just look perfect. They look perfect. And she made the sweetest, I believe it was a bunny, but please correct me, Debbie, if I'm wrong. But it was so adorable, and it looked so squishy, soft, and cuddly. Oh, just so cute. I admire so much the people who can use that yarn, because I cannot. I cannot. It frustrates me to no end. I had about, I think I keep saying 10 years ago, but I think at this point it's probably 15 years ago, made a project with it. And it was just shedding and breaking everywhere. I couldn't stand it. So I swore it off. And then I've tried it again a couple of times, and I can't do it. I can't do the chenille yarn. I can't do the big thick blanket yarn. But kudos to you who can do it, because it does make beautiful projects. Okay, so I'm going to stop getting on my high horse about that yarn and talk about my book. So if you're just here for craftiness, thank you for coming. If you'd like to talk books, hang around for a couple more minutes. Okay, they're playing. I also finished another book. So after I DNF'd the other queen, I went back to Patrick Rothfuss and finished the final published work in the Kingkiller Chronicles universe. This is a novella that he published last October, so nearly a year ago now, but I finally read it. It's The Narrow Road Between Desires. Now, in the intro to this book, he actually says you might not want to buy this book. If you read the short story in the Rogues book, which I have read, and the whole reason I bought that Rogues book was to get that short story, this book is based on it. That's the broad strokes. He did make changes, and this is illustrated, and just the illustrations are phenomenal. Here's just an example of one that's in a chapter talking about someone's brewing still. But this is a continuation, a slightly longer story of Bast. There's Bast talking to one of the children. It's phenomenal. I loved seeing it. It is just, also it's got this really cool, like, marbly stuff. It is a beautiful book. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. And it's so tiny. I love it. It's just, this book makes me happy. The story, I think, is really great. I loved some of the changes he made. Some of the changes, I'm like, really, you had to change that? But he changed it, and that's his prerogative. Like the soap that Bast hides. In the short story, it was lavender soap, because he described it a couple times as lavender. In this book, it's changed to honeysuckle. That doesn't really make much of a difference in the overall story, but it's just something I noticed, like, oh, why'd you change the soap scent? Now, I prefer the smell of honeysuckle to the smell of lavender. I love honeysuckle. I know some people consider it a weed, and awful and invasive. I love the smell of it. I don't know why. Bath and Body Works ages ago had a honeysuckle lotion, and then they had the nerve to discontinue it. I was gutted. I was so sad. And then they brought it back. I don't know if it's still there. I honestly have not shopped at Bath and Body Works in a very, very long time. But anyway, we're not talking about honeysuckles. We're talking about this book. This book is fabulous. I really liked it. I'm kind of sad it's the last book in the Kingkiller Chronicles world for now. I think that world is rich. He's a fantastic writer. And I really hope we get the third final book in the Kingkiller Chronicles. It's what, Doors of Stone. If we don't, I do feel like the second book ended well enough. It's not like on a cliffhanger where you're like, oh no, the characters are in peril. What's going to happen? Not like someone, George R. R. Martin, where you're left wondering. Like, it feels like it had come to kind of a satisfying part of the narrative where, yeah, there's still mysteries to unravel and you want to know how he became the Kingkiller. But it is also just such a nice story, and it was a privilege to be able to see that world. So I love it. Yeah. So I have read some more books that we will get to in coming days. I am also over halfway done with another book. I've got 2 more books over here to talk to you about, and I'm over halfway done with a 3rd book. So we'll have books to talk about for a while. Other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I will see you as soon as possible. So Friday, yes, I will be back on Friday. I'm going to film it ahead a bit, but with my Fridays with Fred. So I'm really fingers crossing that I can get that filmed and get that out, because again, I've missed Fridays with Fred for a couple of weeks, and I want to show you my trolley progress, and I want to show you no, I'm going to say her name wrong, and I'm horrible. I want to say Mindy. Is it Mindy? I'm looking. It is Mindy. Oh, thank goodness. Mindy. I don't want to trust my brain all that much. Mindy has made phenomenal progress on her trolley, too. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, I will see you guys later. Okay, bye-bye.